fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Ptera Genome and Jackal Genome set from the Revice Remix figure line for Kamen Rider Revice. And this is kind of an interesting set in the fact that all of Vice's forms are just vehicles for Revi to ride on. We're not getting any body parts, we're not getting any armor pieces to snap on. All of Vice's forms in this box are just vehicles over here. So we have this crazy fan-powered flying vehicle, and then this just basic skateboard. So taking a look at the packaging here, pretty cool, very nice and bright and colorful here on the front. Over here on this side, it just kind of shows the like hollow body piece here that you can kind of have the armor just displayed on, and then of course the two vehicle forms for Vice. And then over here, really just kind of the same thing, but a little bit more dynamic posing. And then over here, you have really nothing on the bottom. And then if we spin around to the back, it shows how we're going to get one of those like hollow stand-in pieces, and of course all the body parts, and then of course they can snap on to the actual Revi body from the first set, the Rex Genome set. And then we're going to have these two crazy Vice vehicles. So let's go ahead, let's get everything out of the box here, and we'll take a closer look. So here's everything you get in the box. There's definitely some assembly required for Vice's Terraform, and there are instructions not in the box, unfortunately. But if you look at the flap of the box here, there is a little QR code you can scan with your phone, and that will bring up the Bandai website, and then you can follow the instructions for the assembly. It's pretty simple, but it also tells you where to apply the stickers. Yes, unfortunately, this set does have a few stickers. There's one here on the front, there are two here, there is one over here on the side, and then there are the two for the skateboard. It's just one on each side. They came out pretty good, honestly. I think this does look pretty cool. We'll get into this a little bit more later on, but there are some stickers to apply. It took me maybe 10 minutes with the instructions. Luckily, they're all pretty nice flat surfaces, so they're pretty easy to affix, and they seem to be staying on pretty well so far. This thing is okay. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart, but it also doesn't feel like it's really snapped together. I guess they wanted to give you the option of taking it back apart, so you could put it back in the box if you'd like. It's basically two of this piece here. Then there are these two little pieces that you peg in down here. And then this kind of large seat piece here pegs in on top of that. And then these two pieces peg in on top of that. So you can see Vice's little head poking out of this ridiculous flying waffle maker. I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of this thing. Pretty much since they showed it off on day one, I'm just not a huge fan of this. I mean, this is his bike for the year. But it, like I said, it really just looks like a flying waffle iron. I will say it is nice how the blades actually spin down here. Not for the smaller ones, but the two larger ones do actually spin, which is kind of nice. Moving on to the Terraform for Revi, we get another one of these kind of hollow bodies to just kind of be a stand-in if you would like to display these pieces. So all we have to do is go ahead and unpeg this. Take the driver off, put this piece off to the side, then we're going to unpeg the arms. We're going to take the shoulder pads off. And I do think it's neat that even though you don't need it for this one, you can still take the arms off at the elbows if you want. I mean, these are just, you know, they only made one mold for these, and since you have to do that for some of the forms, they're not going to make a different mold. But I still think it's kind of neat. So if you wanted to use this for another body, you can still mix and match them. So if you don't really care about these forms, but you really wanted to display, you know, Rex and Eagle and all of them at the same time, you could go ahead and repurpose these, which is kind of cool. Now, I noticed just now that there is some strange printing here on the bottom of the foot. Not 100% sure what that all is, but there's quite a bit of it. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in the body for the Rex Genome, which is really the base body for all of these here. So we're going to go ahead and take our Terra torso and pop that in up top. Then we're going to bring in our actual arms and peg those in. And then we just finish off by popping on the driver and our two shoulder pads. And these can be a little difficult, honestly. You kind of have to get a good grip and then make sure that that pops on. There we go. Because they like to move around because the ball joint has like the additional butterfly joint. Honestly, it might be easier to take these off and do them before you connect them. Even then, I feel like they still move around a decent amount. But here we go. Here is the Terraform with the full painted body, which looks good. You can go ahead and pop these pieces out. So that's nice. I appreciate that. And you have some really nice paint applications here. I mean, the head does look really nicely painted. The purple and the yellow eyes and everything. You have a lot of metallic blue, especially here on the chest. You have a little Terra symbol. And then if we take a look at the driver, they actually have the Terra Revice stamp actually molded in there. And the Terra symbol is kind of etched into the surface over here. So that's pretty cool. They go pretty all out in terms of that really minor detail because it's very small. So it'd be very difficult to see unless you really, really look closely. And I do appreciate that these can still flip out. I think that's really cool because that's kind of a very important part to the form. So I'm glad they did not skimp on that. In terms of articulation, it's really no different than what we're used to with these figures because you're really using most of the same pieces. This torso connection is the same as any other, so you have the ball joint there. You have a pretty significant hinge in the neck, and then, of course, a side-to-side swivel. So I would say the neck joints are really the only thing that are unique to this form because everything else is using a pre-established joint. So nothing else is really significantly new. But we can go ahead and pop him on here. So you just have to bend him here at the waist and the knees. And he fits on pretty comfortably. And then he does have some handholds here. So if we can get this to work. There we go. Pop this one on as well. Just spin the hand at the wrist. There we go. That actually pops on pretty easily. Let me zoom out just a bit here. So, I'm still not a huge fan of this vehicle, but I will say at least he fits it well. He rides it well. He looks good riding it. I'll give him that. Oops, I accidentally messed up his shoulders here. So I do appreciate that. I think it looks kind of neat. So we'll go ahead and we will get into the Jackal form for X-Aid. So I wanted to show off real quick that, of course, you can go ahead and put the Jackal pieces on this kind of static body that's included. And I'll have to go back and check on the show, but he doesn't have shoulder pads. I'm assuming that's like a, sleeveless tee because he's a skateboarder. At least that's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, they just didn't want to make shoulder pads for him. I don't know. I have to go back and look at the form because offhand, I don't remember if he actually has shoulder pads or not. But either way, you can go ahead and pop him on this static body, and of course transforming him onto the real body is very, very simple. We're just going to go ahead and take the driver off. We're going to pop this off, put this to the side, pop off the stand-in arms and put them off to the side. We're going to bring in our real body, go ahead and pop this on, pop on the driver, and then pop on our arms, sans shoulder pads. Come on, get in there. There we go. And there is our Jackal form. It looks pretty cool. It's fairly basic. I mean, there's not a ton to it in terms of unique pieces. Once again, the only new, really significant, unique joint is the neck, which has kind of a weird hinge at the base of the neck there, but then also at the base of the skull, he's got the swivel. I don't know why, I just feel like this seems to move around a lot on mine, and I hope that's going to hold up. But I do really like the look of the head. I think it's painted nice. I kind of like the X-Aid form there. And then on the back, he's got like the X-Aid face, which I think is really fun, but it's still got the ears for the Jackal, just like his mask does. So all in all, I think that looks pretty cool. But I mean, 90% of this is just the base body that we're used to. It's really just the torso that's different, and the driver, of course. Okay, let's zoom in and take a look at the Jackal form. You can see all that etched in detail. Looks pretty cool. I like that. And then in terms of the skateboard, we'll take a closer look. It's just two big stickers, so there's one on this side. It can be a little difficult to line them up, especially with such a big sticker, but I think it came out all right. And then over here, you have to pop the wheels off, so this entire section pops off, both of these, and then you have to put this over top of those. You can see there's cutouts for these two pink squares, and then you just pop these back on. But it came out pretty good. Again, I think this one applied pretty well. I don't really like how the wheels are. It's these, like, the wheels are, one big solid pink piece that just rotate around in there. I would have rathered this be a solid piece and then each of the four wheels pegged in. like onto a mushroom peg or something. I just feel like that would have made the wheels roll a little better. I mean, as it stands, they roll okay. And it does have this peg on top, which I appreciate, so I can go ahead and peg that into the top there. And he does stand pretty well. And you can try to do some of those poses where like he's kind of jumping in the air and grabbing onto the board. It's a little difficult to do, but if you kind of get it back far enough, we can kind of get something like this going on. So let me zoom out a little bit. So it is possible to do some of these cool poses, which I think is kind of neat. I think that's kind of fun. So I do appreciate that he has at least one peg there so that you can stand him up. I mean, whoops, the whole thing just kind of falls over. You just have to find the right balance. Yeah, I mean, it's an okay form. It's kind of basic. Honestly, both parts of it are kind of basic. I don't mind it up here. I mean, he doesn't have shoulder pads, and really the entire bottom half is just the Rex genome. And then Vice is really just a skateboard. I will say it's kind of difficult finding the right balance to get him to stand, because he very much wants to fall forward. I think it's because of how the wheels are done. I don't know. I'm having a pretty difficult time getting him to stand here. What do you think? There we go. It's just about finding the right balance. But yeah, overall, like I said, it's kind of a basic form, but it's not bad. So this set's okay. I appreciate that it's trying to bring some vehicles into the line, but they're just not the best vehicles. And really what it just comes down to is I just don't really care for the remix forms. And like I said in the previous review I did of the Eagle and Megalodon, it's not the toys' fault. The toys are accurately recreating what is on the television show. And that's where the design flaws really come from. I'm just not a big fan of this thing. Like I said, it looks to me like a giant flying waffle iron. I'm just not a huge fan of it. That being said, you know, the toys representation of it is pretty faithful. I think that, you know, looks good. So if you do like this, then you'll probably like this toy, because the toy is very accurate to what it looks like on the show. It has the spinning rotator blades down here, which is a nice touch. Like I said, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. It holds together fairly sturdy, but it definitely feels like, you know, it can be taken apart at any moment. So if you want to store it back in the box, it's not a situation where once you snap it together, it's like that forever. You could definitely take this apart back into its individual components and it wouldn't be too bad. A couple of stickers to apply, which I don't love stickers, but these were fairly simplistic and they were just kind of nice big flat surfaces, so it wasn't too bad to pop them on. I do really like the Terraform for Revi. I think that looks sharp. A lot of nice blue metallic paint. The head sculpt looks good. The yellow eyes, very indicative of Fies there, so I think he looks very, very cool. And I do really like that form. I'm just not a huge fan of this weird bike flying vehicle for Vice, but it is what it is. Moving on to the Jackal form with the X-Aid references. It's okay. I mean, it came out all right. I don't love these static bodies. I mean, I can't decide if I want one for every form or if I just don't want them at all. Because while I appreciate them trying to give me a way to display a few of these forms, if I don't have enough to display all of the forms, then it's kind of worthless to me. It's just going to get tossed into a bin with a big pile of pieces that I have left over, the ones I can't display because I don't have enough bodies. So I feel like I appreciate what they're trying to do, but they kind of half did it, so it doesn't really work. In terms of the actual Jackal form itself, I think it looks pretty cool. I like that the chest has the X-Aid accents there with kind of the directional pad. The Jackal thing over here looks pretty cool. I do like the head sculpt. I think that looks really sharp. Again, really nice paint applications there. I do like the X-Aid head on the back. I think that's a really nice touch as well. In terms of the skateboard, it's okay. I mean, the stickers were a little difficult to apply whenever you have a really big sticker like that, to make sure it lines up all the way before you kind of apply it is a little difficult, but I think this one came out okay. And this one over here looks pretty good as well. The stickers look nice. I don't really like the way the wheels are done. They're not the worst, and it rolls okay, but I kind of wish that each wheel was attached individually because I feel like it would just roll better that way. Instead, you have these kind of like dumbbell pieces that they roll around all right, but just makes it look a little bit cheesier. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Both of these vehicles, I don't know. They're just not terrible. They're just kind of run-of-the-mill for me. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with this line. I'll have to kind of wait and see what the next set is that they do. If it's a form I really love or something like that, then maybe I'll cave and keep going. But just so far, this line hasn't really impressed me all that much. I think the forms especially for Revi on their own, look good. You're left over with a lot of pieces. Just, you know, you're going to have a big pile of pieces when you're done because you don't have enough bodies for everything. So I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's a lot of stuff to either put right back in the box or kind of put in a bin altogether, and then to fish everything out, it's kind of a pain in the butt. The one thing I feel like Soto has over this line, you get a full form in each box, or 2 boxes. But at least at the end of the day, you could have all the forms stand next to each other, and you wouldn't have to trade one body back and forth. And I think that's something that Soto is going to have over this line, and probably why I'm going to just get all of Soto and kind of bow out of this line early. But like I said, time will tell. We'll see what the next set is. Haven't seen an announcement of another set yet, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if this line even continues. I don't know how it's selling over there in Japan, so we'll just have to see. Time will tell on that one. But if I had to say anything about this set, maybe wait for a sale, something like that. I think I'm probably leaning towards, you know, recommending Soto more than these. Now, to be fair, I haven't gotten into the Soto sets yet, but I do know that the Soto sets can do the full remix forms, so we'll see how that goes when I eventually get over there. But for now, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of more annoying than it's worth it to trade that one body back and forth. Now, if you want to be crazy and buy enough of the Rex set to have full bodies for all these guys, that could work, but that's going to get pricey real fast. So I can only kind of half recommend these. They're not great, they're not terrible, but they're a lot of work, it feels like. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.